Now that I'm finished with my actual weaving, I need to get ready to actually take it off the loom. So my first steps with that is to make sure that on the bottom of my weaving, I like to use a twining stitch because I feel like it secures things a lot better, and then it's easier when I take off my warp strings to knot. I have a lot of space between my notches and my twining stitch, so I have plenty of space to make my knots, but you want to have at least like 3 to 4 inches to be able to do those knots, because that's what's going to help your weaving be secure. So try not to go all the way to the very bottom of your weaving. So I'm ready with this. I have enough space, and now my last step is to flip over my weaving and take care of the mess that is the back. Something to think about is if you have 2 strings that are close to each other, I can just knot those. I do a gentle knot first, and then I do a double knot that's tighter, so I'm not affecting my actual weaving. I pull that nice and tight, and then that should be secure, and I can snip off those ends. I don't want to get too close, but I can snip them down so they're not in the way of anything else. I already stitched in a few of my other things, but I can look around and try to find other spots that I can knot things, because it's just a little bit quicker and easier than having to stitch them in. So if I can, that's why I leave tails as I'm working, so that I'll be able to do that kind of thing. Now, if it's short like this and I don't have anything to knot it to, what I want to do is be able to stitch it in. So I like to use a smaller needle. Since it's so short right there, I'm going to do the stitching first. So I'm going to find a spot that I can put this and hide it away in between some of my stitches that are already there. So I'll slide that in, and then I will thread my needle because it was so short. Otherwise, I'd just thread my needle right away, but that one's just a short little guy. So I'll pull that through. It might look a little funky at first, but you can always kind of move things around, and now that one is secure, and I'm not worried it's going to come undone later. Same thing with some of these ones over here. This one, I can just knot that. Even though it's 2 separate colors, that's okay. It's not going to affect on the front. As long as I do that gentle knot first, and then I go back and do a stronger, tighter knot, it won't be a problem. Now, something like the roving, I'll come back to these ones over here, but my roving, I have this big long piece, but remember I did tuck in my ends when I was doing my roving. But something to notice is I have a very large gap right there. Now, the thickness of this fiber should help to hold this sturdy, but since I have some extra, I'm just gonna weave through on the back, and that's just gonna give it a little extra support since I have that already there. So I'll weave through on the back, and then I'll come back the other way and just get those big open strings to help that be a little more secure. And then I'll just trim that off, and that just helps that be more sturdy. Sometimes when you have those thick rows, you might want to go back and add an extra row of just plain weave in between to help make it secure. Some of these other ones I can just tuck a little bit more, but I did already tuck those ones, so those should be okay. This one down here, just because it's the very bottom, here, I'll move it so you can see a bit better. Because it's the very bottom of my weaving and I want that to be the most secure spot, I am gonna stitch these ones in, so I'll find a spot for my needle to go through. I will thread my yarn in and then pull through, and same with on the other side. I just always want to make sure that the bottom of my weaving is really secure and that nothing's going to be falling out after all of my hard work. And then I can snip those off. I still have a few more over here, but these can mainly be snipped because they've already been stitched in as I was weaving. Okay, the last one. This one ended on the end. I tend to try and avoid ending on the end, but I think it's good to be able to show you. So I'm going to do a double knot there, which makes it a little bit more bulky, but it helps me know that it'll be nice and secure. And then I'm gonna come back. This one's kind of on top and it's gonna twist this way. So I'm gonna put that one in this one. And it really just needs a little something to secure it. because it's already double knotted, it is secure. But I just don't want it to be like sticking out so that you can see it. Since these ones are a little bit longer, I can go ahead and just thread my needle. And then I can go and get that other one, pick that up, and stitch it through. And then from the front, you won't really be able to see that. Okay, so most of these other ones, they've already been kind of stitched in. I can cut these down. And then my back is a lot neater and tidier than it was before. And then it was all ready to be taken off the loom for my next video.